In a previous video, we demonstrated how to find performance counters in PowerShell, but when you display them, it displays just once, so it's a point-in-time snapshot. So let me show you how this works. So let's do a get counter, and then I'm going to specify backslash, here's one we'll monitor a lot, processor. And I want to look at all of my processor time, so it's underscore total to specify my total processor time. Backslash, and I want percent, not or dollar sign percent, processor time. And so that's going to give me an instant point in time. I'm using 0.82%. Okay, that's real fast and easy. But it only shows it to me for that moment in time. So if I want to monitor it for a certain period of time, I need that to automatically update. And there are two ways we can do this. One is using the option continuous. So dash continuous will set it to automatically update. And by default, you'll notice, wow, I've got a weird timestamp on here. You'll notice that it's updating every second. And it's just going to sit here and do this eternally until I stop it. And I can just stop it using Control C, and that breaks out of it. So that'll give me an update every second. And I can just sit there and watch that. All right, what if I don't want it to do every second? Because, you know, the more often I do this, the more load it puts on the system. So what if I want to do this, but I don't want it to update quite as often? Well, for that, I can set another option. It's sample interval. T-E-R-V-A-L. And I'm going to set my sample interval to every 3 seconds. So now when I do it, it's going to do the same thing, except now instead of updating every second, it's going to update every 3 seconds. So you'll see 53, 56, 59, 1602. All right, and so that's updating every 3 seconds for me now. Now the other thing I can do is I can do this. Let me hit Control C here. I can do this rather than having it run continuously. I can also set a max interval or a maximum or max samples, maximum number of times it'll do this. So I'm going to change continuous to max samples, and I want to do this a maximum of 5 times. So it should give me 5 samples 3 seconds apart. So there's 1, 2, and now because I set that max samples to 5, once it gets to that 5th sample, it's automatically going to stop for me right there. And so now I have that data captured on screen. So, and then I can do other things with this. So I can capture this data and I can send it to files, and I can do whatever I want to with it. And I can use select object to select just specific things. I don't have to send the entire object down to, I can export to a CSV file or an XML file, or I can do lots of things like that to try to capture some of that data where I can come back and reference it and use it at a later date if I don't want to just sit here and monitor it. But if I do want to just sit here and monitor it because I think something's going on in my system right now, this gives me an easy way to do it. All right, now we just did this with the percent processor time counter for our total processor usage, which is great. But I can actually do this with any counter that I want. I can always use that max samples, the continuous. Those two, by the way, are mutually exclusive. It's one or the other, not both. And then the sample interval if I want something other than the 3 seconds. So that gives me a way to gather information, monitor it, and then if I want to actually export it out to a CSV file or an XML file or some other way of capturing that data for me to review later.